Dead Rising 2 is the zombie game of all time. It stars Chuck Greene, who only has 4 things going for him. His wife is dead, his daughter is not dead, he's an ex-motocross champ, and his jawline could crack planets. Chuck Rising 2 takes place in a zombified America, where zombies are a known but somewhat contained problem, contained in this game show that Chuck is competing in to earn some dollary dues. The show is run by a charismatic black man in a pimp outfit, which is a totally original apocalyptic character trope. Seamless transition. With 2 chainsaws tied to my Vespa, I chop more zombies than any human in history, setting a world record and winning the game show. This doesn't stop the ladies from razzing up my boy. Oh look, this guy's got his pee-pee out. After running through the girls' locker room, once again they start razzing up my boy Chucky, just showing how horny the Capcom developers are, but my slime Chucky jawline doesn't flinch as he hops in the elevator.
Good night.
So hot right now.
But as he hops out, the room fills with zombies. Katie, she's in the green room. A bat lay strung out on the ground. Oh, Sean's dead. But in Chuck's hand, the bat became a key to finding his daughter.
Go away!
Katie, it's me, it's Daddy.
It's happening again, isn't it? Like what happened with Mommy.
Chucky jawline, cool, calm and collected, rushes out with Katie. And this is where the best game mechanic ever really comes front and center. See, there are random people you can save in Dead Rising 2. If you don't save them, they die. This will happen regardless of what you're doing or if you even know the character. So as we escape... Sorry, Pat, not my problem, buddy. This, however, is my problem. The totally not Las Vegas strip is overrun, but a nearby zombie shelter is just closing as we make it in. The shelter's security guard catches sight of Katie's previous bite wound. Katie is infected, but with a dose of Zombirex every 24 hours, she won't turn. If only we had some.
We don't have any Zombirex, do we?
I was gonna get some. Right after the show.
Oh, you don't even smile.
We still have time.
Where are you gonna get it, Dad?
You let me worry about that, okay, Katie?
We're gonna get it, Katie. I'll rip it from the devil's cold, dead hand if I need to. Sorry, I might be a tad invested in Chuck and Katie. Not this lady though. She's nice enough to mention that a nearby pharmacy could hold what we need. And you'll need to get it soon, as the game has a constant ticking clock that will drastically affect the story and player experience. This can include Katie not getting her Zombirex on time. So I stripped naked and took a dump, before setting out into the mall complex of Fortune City. Knowing time was of the essence, I only tried on a few new threads, before moving past the literal Playboy prawns in the game, showing just how horny the Capcom developers are. Past this was the sporting goods store, which housed a carnival high strike game. I remembered running past a sledgehammer on my way, so I retrieved it, and then striking the high strike with the hammer was a hidden achievement, scoring me 5,000 PP. But this was enough messing around. Oh, I kinda look sharp right now. Finding the pharmacy was bittersweet, as it was full of looters threatening a damsel in distress who was bent over the counter. Capcom, chill! Holy! Yo, then Chucky Jawline walks in, eyes cold like. But then they called him old, so I killed them to death. This unlocks the pharmacy key, and after defeating the looters, I take the Zombirex without paying for it. Keep in mind it costs thousands of dollars, and then I have a swing daggle of some orange juice. Yum. I was also accompanied by Dennis, who I could escort to the safe house. Normally I escort your mum to the bedroom on the weekends, but this will do. It took some time, however, as I was pondering the drip and getting slop as Dennis got choked out from the back. But I'm not here to judge, I'm here for Zombirex. Ooh, hold on. This hat kinda go hard in the polo and the jeans. With the novelty glasses. Oh, look at ice cold, baby. It was in the toy store with the novelty glasses that I found Silly Bear. Silly Bear is an absolute vibe, just ignore the background. I take Silly Bear back to the shelter, but the night shift guard was suspicious of the bear.
Where on earth did you find him? Never mind. I don't want to know.
Which Five Nights at Freddy's would shamelessly steal 4 years later. I take Silly Bear to Katie. This gives Chucky a big pee-pee boost. Nah, for real. Giving Katie a teddy bear gives me increased damage. Best zombie game of all time. Oh, but YOLO Project Zomboid, you can eat cans of soup for 8 hours and die, bro. It's wicked. Yeah, cool, buddy. Now, Katie needed her Zombirex, but you can only administer it at specific times. Too early and she'll OD. Too late and you're not winning Father of the Year, I'll tell you that. So to kill time, I gaslit Chris about the size of her weenie and ran up the slots. Remember kids, 99% of gamblers stop before they win big. Oh hey Chris, you look a bit anxious hiding in the corner over there. I returned to give Katie her daily dose of steroids followed by a chaser of Zombirex. Remember, 50-50 mixes only.
Look, Dad, I got a new power in Mega Man.
It's been a busy day, so Chucky Jawline needs some Joe when a news report catches his attention. It shows someone dressed in his motocross outfit releasing the zombies from the holding pen, thus starting the outbreak.
Initial reports suggest that the man in the video is former motocross champion Chuck Greene.
What?
Chuck is being framed, and you've 3 days before the military show up to prove his innocence, all the while keeping Katie alive with fresh Zombirex. This is hype! Chucky's no longer messing around, and in a nearby maintenance room, a bat and nails together, we make our first craftable weapon. And this is where the game really opens up. There are people all over to save, granting bonuses and huge PP boosts to level up, new wacky weapons to discover and craft, and of course the drip. You can also come across a store ran by the looters. Zombirex, 25 bands in less than 24 hours. How will I ever do that? I tried some more weapons like dynamite in a zombie hand, and boxing gloves with kniffs, before making my way to find the reporter who ran the story about Chuck's involvement in the outbreak. This is Rebecca Chang. All she cares about is the big story, so she agrees to help Chuck on the premise the story leads somewhere. This is a great dynamic as she's only motivated by the big clickbait headlines, yet Chuck only wants to do what's right by his daughter. And Rebecca is totally not just an excuse to have constant sexual tension for the rest of the game. On another note, the literal first thing she does is lead Chucky to the bathroom alone. Come on, Capcom, you dirty dogs.
Well, what are you waiting for?
Just checking out the view.
No, I'm obviously playing all of this up for the video. Then Chucky gets some slop and Rebecca, air quotation, lockpicks the door, leading to the surveillance room, where all the gear has been destroyed and the security guards are dead, which Five Nights at Freddy's would shamelessly steal 4 years later.
Not cool.
On our way back to the shelter, I found a stank nasty suit. Speaking of stank nasty, the security guard at the shelter was a wee bit angry after word of Chuck's alleged involvement had spread. In a fit of rage, he was about to kick Chuck and Katie out of the shelter, but Silly Bear snapped his neck from behind, which Five Nights at Freddy's would shamelessly steal 4 years later. With Silly Bear backing him, Chuck became the ruler of the shelter and set the girls on the task of looking for the next clue, which Powworld would shamelessly steal. The next part of the case would start at 7:30 PM, giving us some time to free roam before our next story mission. So, I goofed around, and then I travelled up the strip, and this is where I met Ted.
Snowflake hungry. Oh, look what I found you, pretty girl. Meat! Food, steak. No! Snowflake, my friend.
Ted is the first psycho you meet.
Meat!
These are boss fights with people who are not taking the zombie outbreak very well. And in this case, it's a bit sad. It's implied that Ted has some form of learning accessibility, and his only friend is Snowflake, the tiger. Ted, in the midst of an outbreak, is only just trying to take care of Snowflake and keep her fed. Then I killed him to death on the spot. Snowflake no likey and killed me to death in retaliation. So, I goofed around, before finding a bookstore. Books and magazines can give you a boost to your character, but they take up one inventory slot. But in the bookstore I found a book on gambling. And then I travelled up the strip. This time I focused on Snowflake, but I know I'll get hate in the comments if I show her death. So here's me leaving Ted to be eaten alive by the zombie horde. Remember, this is a time-sensitive game. After spending a little too long on this gag and saving more people for extra PP, I returned back to the shelter just in time to miss the start of the next story mission, thus losing the entire main plot instantly. So some people believe in this concept called karma. So I goofed around before finding a bookstore and grabbing my favorite gambling magazine, and then making my way up the strip. Ted and Snowflake, a bit tired of my antics, stun-locked me before I cracked his head open and cooked his pussy. I then used the Australian racial bonus to slam a long neck and drive at twice the speed so I could make it back in time. Look out for the jump! As I returned, Katie was a tad eepy, and even though this supporting character that I forgot the name of had been watching the cameras for hours, Chuck immediately notices something. Activity in the maintenance tunnel. That sounds like our next lead. But as Chuck is about to leave...
Be careful, okay? For her sake.
You think I'm gonna let something happen to Katie? You don't know me, son! Then I went gambling.